on steamy AstroTurf as the first regular season use of the phrase Heisman Trophy candidate occurs on a Sunday afternoon in New Jersey. Grantland Rice would never have stood for this. He could have returned this punt here. A classic kick kicks off this year's kickoff classic. 90 yards, 75 yards in the air for Todd Sauerbrunn of West Virginia, long enough to allow the return specialist Kareem Moss to go out for lunch and then take it back for quite a way. You think Sauerbrunn was happy? In fact, he was the West Virginia offensive MVP, which was a problem because that was it. Nebraska's turn. Tommy Frazier following his blockage, 25 yards for the touch. Hey, defense, at least wave at him as he goes by. 10-0 Huskers. And the Husker D, Husker Du, Doug Coleman, New Jersey native, playing in front of the home crowd, forces the fumble by Eric Boykin, and it boiks away, and they score 2 plays later. Still in the second quarter. Watch the block by the fullback, Jeff Makovica. Right there. Opens up the hole, and Frazier goes through easily. A Nebraska quarterback running a lot. 24-0 at the half. In the second half, a little defense from Dumas nails Chad Johnson behind the line, and the other team's quarterback must go down. But the story was Frazier. He starts right, cuts against the grain, slips a couple of tackles, races for the score, knocks Ali down in the third round, and they roll. Tommy Frazier, we are from Nebraska, and they certainly narfled the Garthog in this game. The Huskers still haven't lost an opener since '85. The Mountaineers blanked for the first time since November of '86. Frazier goes 8 of 16, 100 yards, 130 more on the ground, MVP of the kickoff classic. And now I'm just speculating here, but I'd have to say that if they gave out the Heisman Trophy today, it would just about have to go to Frazier.
I'm not worried about the Heismans right now. All I'm worried about is going out there and winning week in and week out. If the Heisman comes, and I'm going to be happy. But if it doesn't, I'm going to be happy as long as my team wins.
This was obviously the advantage we had going into the game was quarterback. You know, he's a great player and a guy that that has been out there before. And to start out with 2 new guys was difficult for West Virginia.
Tommy, on this Heisman thing, I was just kidding. Sometimes even a shutout will look competitive on the stat sheet, but not this one. The Mountaineers did win a statistical category. Punts, 9 of them. Coming up later in the big show, we will continue our college football preview with a look at Nebraska and its very few challengers in the Big 8, one of the only conferences left whose number is right. Craig? The fairy tale season for Tom Osborne's Cornhuskers ended with another bitter bowl loss when Florida State wasn't wide, right or left. Nebraska returns 13 starters from last year's squad, and they're already 1-0. But can they overcome yet another near miss?
I hope they use the Orange Bowl as a springboard to want to do a little better this year and to finish it all. But there's a lot of things going to happen between now and January 1, so we'll just have to wait to see how it plays out.
One thing Nebraska can count on playing out is junior quarterback Tommy Frazier. Nebraska 17-1 since Frazier took over the Cornhuskers starting helm as a freshman. Joining Frazier in the backfield and replacing Calvin Jones is sophomore I-back Lawrence Phillips. Phillips ran for 508 yards last year, including 137 in Nebraska's win over UCLA. Defensive leader Trev Alberts is gone, but Osborne believes his defense may be better despite the loss. The Huskers held West Virginia without a first down until midway through the second quarter, while Osborne could have his best pair of cornerbacks in his 21 years in Nebraska in Tyrone Williams and Barron Miles. So who does that leave for the Huskers' competition in the conference?
Colorado, Oklahoma.
Just those 2?
Just those 2.
While others may disagree with that, Colorado does return 9 starters on offense. They averaged 470 yards per game last season, 10th in the nation offensively. Quarterback Cordell Stewart will continue to lead the offense, and with Charles Johnson gone to the NFL, the Buffs' passing game will swing to Michael Westbrook, who has CJ's big play capability, while some experts rate him as a better all-around receiver. On the other side of the ball, the Buffs return their entire defensive line, while a suspect defensive backfield is still led by all Big 8 selection Chris Hudson. The key for Colorado is surviving a brutal non-conference schedule. They host Wisconsin, then travel to Michigan and Texas in consecutive weeks. Oklahoma is finally nearing a full recovery from its 3-year probation that started in '88. The Sooners' key is finding a replacement for revolutionary quarterback Cale Gundy. The number 1 candidate, Northeast Oklahoma A&M junior college transfer Garrick McGee. McGee won the starting job last spring, but he will not be alone on the offense.
We have a very strong, experienced offensive line. We've got some good running backs returning. P.J. Mills, in my opinion, is on the verge of being a big playmaker for us. So Garrick's got a good supporting cast around him, and instead of Garrick having to make every critical play for us, he's got some people who can step up and make those plays for our offensive football team.
Some competition that Tommy Frazier didn't count on may come from resurgent Kansas State. Quarterback Chad May took the Big 8 by storm as the newcomer of the year, setting a school record by throwing for 2,682 yards, as well as leading the Wildcats to their first win over Oklahoma in their last 23 tries. Also, keep your eyes on sophomore wide receiver Kevin Lockett, who set a Big 8 freshman receiving record last season.
Touchdown Wildcats! Oh, mama, did he hang on! Lockett with a score!
Kansas took a step back last year after having won the Aloha Bowl in '92, but they do return the most exciting young runner in the conference in June Henley, who rumbled for a Big 8 freshman record 1,127 yards last year. Missouri hasn't been to a bowl game since '83, so enter Larry Smith and his 8 bowl appearances as a coach. Missouri features senior tailback Joe Freeman, who became the first Tiger back to rush for 100 yards in 3 consecutive games since James Wilder in 1978. Iowa State returns 18 of its 22-man starting unit, and while they're really no threat to win their first Big 8 title since 1912, the Cyclones have defeated a ranked opponent 3 of the last 4 years, including a 27-23 victory over number 18 Kansas State last year. And Pat Jones continues to try to rebuild Oklahoma State. The Cowboys have gone 15, 38, and 2 since the glory days ended with Barry Sanders in '88. A bright spot? 6 starters return on a defense that was ranked in the top 15 for the first 5 weeks of '93. Here's what others are saying about the Big 8. Nebraska, leading all Division I schools in wins, and how often can you say that, is 3rd in the coaches, 4th in the bowl, 4th in the AP, even though they got more first-place votes than any other team, but not enough other votes to get any higher than 4th, showing again the media knows nothing. Colorado is 7th in the coaches and the bowl. Oklahoma gets a 13 from the coaches, a 15 from the bowl, and a 16 from the writers. So the Huskers think it's them in Oklahoma and Colorado and a not-so-big other 5. But are they right? For the Insider's View, college football analyst Craig James with Dan Patrick.
Nebraska started their 1994
facing a team that lost its own big-name player to the pros, Fresno State, former home of Trent Dilfer. The baseball negotiations have been transferred to the Big A. First half, the Buckeyes OL, the offensive line, dominate. Number 78, Corey Stringer, with a great block, clearing the way for a 12-yard scamper by Raymond Harris's replacement, Eddie George. Still first quarter, Bobby Hoying, toying, faking the double reverse and throwing downfield, looking for Joey Galloway, and he's got him. They're not going to get him. He thinks he's in the end zone, celebrates early. Now he's in the end zone. 67-yard play, 14-0 Buckeyes, and Hoying is pumped. Third quarter, it's 24-10 Ohio State. More Galloway, 2nd and goal. The pitch, heads left, nothing going there. Heads right, and he will cut back all the way to the right and go in and wave at him, defense. 8-yard touchdown that took 15 minutes. First time in 38 games, Fresno State has not scored at least 19 points. The 20th-ranked Buckeyes fold, spindle, and mutilate the Bulldogs. Remember, they had gotten bowl bids 5 of the last 6 years and 2 straight WAC titles. The new Dilfer, Adrian Claiborne, 12 of 22 for 139. Chris?
The latest on Prime Time's World Lincoln. David Thompson scored 3 times. In Youngstown, the Penguins unable to avenge one of only 2 regular season losses a year ago. The nation's number 2 Division II team, tied by number 15, Stephen F. Austin. Here's more scores. Steve Levy on the harmonica at Carter Finley Stadium in Raleigh. North Carolina State hosting Bowling Green, their first ever meeting. And that is Eddie Goins. He's going to be a good one. Eventually, he will be the number 1 receiver all time for NC State, passing Pearl, Quick, Herman Moore, and the like. And there's Terry Harvey passing up a chance to pass to anyone. He ran it in himself. But then the forte of a Gary Blackney team, the block punt. 20 for his school in the 3 dozen games he's coached there. Eric Arnold took that one in. But as Chia Key Bradley scooped it up and put it in from 36 yards out, Bowling Green got no closer in the Wolfpack. Wins it by 5. They've now won 7 straight season openers. They're at Clemson a week from Saturday. Other Bowling Green, the one in Kentucky. The Hilltoppers hosting the Colonels. Getting fired up. Eastern Kentucky blows off the cannon. They've got the ball on their own 26, and it's Carlos Stallings. He stalled a little bit and then whirls, and he's got 1 man to beat. Good. DeCarlo gets him from behind, but he slips away and goes 74 yards. Big man of the game, though, was his quarterback counterpart, Western Kentucky, J.J. Jewell, who did a little running of his own. Shifts through the D. He scored a couple of times, ran for 46 yards, passed for 120. Meanwhile, Penn State transfer John Sacca of Eastern Kentucky was sacked 3 times by Western. The Colonels were ranked 12th in Division I AA, but for the second straight year, they'd lost the opener to their in-state rivals. Steve?
We continue our college football conference previews, and it's Pac-10 time. The conference of quarterbacks, starting with Cal's Dave Barr, Stanford's Steve Stenstrom, USC's Rob Johnson, Oregon's Danny O'Neill, and UCLA's Wayne Cook. The biggest problem they will all face this season is their one meeting with the defense, the one that was on display Thursday night. Keith Olbermann takes a peek.
Rose Bowl hopes in Arizona? Why not? The Cats' Desert Swarm defense was greatly responsible for the school's 10-2 record last season, including the 29-0 Fiesta Bowl rout of Miami. The team will be led by lineman Teddy Bruschi, who topped the conference with 19 sacks. But will this defense be better than last year's?
There will be no letdown with our defense, I feel. I mean, our goal is to be just as good. I mean, if not better. I mean, what kind of man would we be if our goal was to be, you know, let's do close to what we did last year. Let's out maybe 45 instead of 30 yards rushing. You know, our goal is to be better.
Arizona anxiously awaiting its October 22nd match versus UCLA, who they lost to last year by 20. The Bruins enter the year boasting the nation's best receiver, J.J. Stokes. His stats last season, 68 catches, 1,005 yards, and 17 touchdowns. With those numbers, quarterback Wayne Cook won't have a passing problem. The big test, 3 of the Bruins' 5 road games come against Nebraska, Washington, and Arizona.
Outlook for the season?
We're going back to the Rose Bowl. I mean, that's all anybody wants. We're looking forward to going back to the Rose Bowl, and the way we see it, we shouldn't lose a game.
USC, Tailback University. Don't say that to quarterback Rob Johnson. 308 completions, 3,630 yards, 29 touchdowns, and only 6 interceptions last season. But can Johnson win the big one? This costly INT against rival UCLA all but killed the team's Rose Bowl hopes.
I messed up. It's my fault, and, you know, I'll take the responsibility on my shoulders. And I think back to both things. You know, I think back to the season as a team. I think, you know, yeah, that play, and we could have gone to the Rose Bowl. And then when I think about it individually how I did, I felt I had a great season.
Year 2 under John Robinson's tenure, number 2, must bring forth better defense. The Trojans were second to last against the run, giving up 4.1 yards per carry.
For us, from a specific standpoint, playing physically, dominating the game physically, is a big key for us.
The Washington Huskies still play under NCAA sanctions, but their one constant is Pac-10 rushing leader Napoleon Kaufman. The senior tailback gained 1,299 yards last year and looks to become the first Husky to post 3 straight 1,000-yard seasons. Stanford went backward from a 10-3 92 to a 4-7 93. Their strength, senior quarterback Steve Stenstrom, is 3,627 passing yards, a Pac-10 record, as the Cardinal O averaged over 400 yards a game. The defense, though, must be better. They gave up an average of 35 points and 435 yards per game.
At Stanford, we don't play defense very well. Some of our players aren't as fast as our opponents. So we have to have a design ready to cut down the ability of the opponent to make a big play from out of nowhere, and that kills us historically.
The best of the Pac-10 rest, watch for Cal senior linebacker Jarrett Willard. He's led the conference in tackles for 2 straight years. On offense, Dave Barr returns as the Pac-10's #1 rated passer. Oregon has a fine QB as well in Danny O'Neill. He was second in the conference in total offense and one of 3 Pac-10 passers to throw for 3,000 yards last season. Jake Plummer was the first true freshman quarterback to start at Arizona State since 1984. He led the Sun Devils to a 4-2 record in his 6 starts.
He's beyond his years in terms of maturity. He does a real nice job of managing his emotions, influencing people around him. So he's going to be fine.
Can the conference's other J.J. Young, become the first Oregon State halfback to ever rush for 1,000 yards? He missed by just 45 last year. The Beavers go for their first winning season since 1970. And Washington State returns 7 seniors on D, including Dwayne Patterson. His 17 sacks last year helped him break the all-time school record held by Keith Millard.
Thursday night action, some good games. There are some that think Arizona may have enough to win a national title. Sports Illustrated bestowing its ultimate jinx by not only picking the Wildcats to win it all, but putting them on the cover. The Cats started 1994 by blowing out Miami on New Year's Day, which has a lot to do with this year's expectations. And they started this campaign here on ESPN in a difficult debut. Downtown Atlanta against Georgia Tech. Ramblin' Wreck ready to wreck Arizona's title hopes. Coming off a couple of losing seasons, Antoine Carter coughs up the ball. He had not worked out during the preseason. This is his first contact, and he coughed it up. And 45 seconds into the game, JC transfer Tommy Luganbo hooks up, touchdown to Derek Stegall, Tech up, less than a minute in, 7-0. Dick Tomey of the Wildcats, one of the nation's best defenses, trying to get it going offensively. And Carter, the senior, bowls through and then coughs it again. His third fumble of the game. Arizona had a 13-7 lead at that point. That's Al Luganbill. Remember him from San Diego State? He is now watching his son play, and the JC transfer connects again off the turnover. This one to Charlie Simmons. Tech up 14-13. Carter hoping his fumbles wouldn't cost his team the game. 10 minutes left to go. Long drive, closing minutes. Dan White. The ball gets loose. Tech's got it, but it's ruled incomplete. Check it out again. 1 foot in the ground counts as possession. It should have been a fumble. Instead, the Arizona drive continues, much to the consternation of Bill Lewis, but his team is still playing D. Arizona just wore him down. And that's the true freshman, Kevin Schmidtke. Carter had over 100 yards. Schmidtke had 92 on 17 carries. Those his biggest 6 as he goes in for his first collegiate touchdown. And Arizona pulls it out late, 19-14. Tech had just 20 rushing yards on 19 attempts. Arizona ran wild for 277 on the ground. They had more than twice as much possession time. Number 22, Illinois, hosting its first ever game in Soldier Field against Washington State. Illinois returns all 11 defensive starters. They had the Cougars on the run, and they knocked the ball loose from Chad Davis. And the Illini is looking for a score. Their quarterback, Johnny Johnson, goes back, looking upfield. He scrambles. He's popped. The ball pops loose. Mark Field scoops it up, and he's gone. And so is Elmer Brown, who had held the all-time record for longest fumble return. That was back in 1899. Back in this century, 71 yards later, the only touchdown of the game, Washington State overcomes 3 field goals from Illinois and upsets the Illini, number 22 ranked, on the road, 10-9. The Illini had hoped to improve their big city fan base, their first Chicago appearance in 55 years. Soldier Field was about 2/3 filled. In the Astrodome, the start of another long fall for Houston against a solid Kansas team. Looking long, Ashiki Preston to Robert Reed. He threw it 50 yards in the air. The play covers 63 in all. They score in their first 3 possessions. Cougars trying to play some D. Check out this pop. John Brown unloading on George White. But the Cougars couldn't keep Kansas bottled up. They built the big lead and then ran it in. J.T. Levine cuts back for a 15-yard score. He scored twice. Kansas rolls 35-13. It's the Cougars' first game against a Big 8 school in 6 years. They're now 10-11-1 against that conference. Kansas hosts Michigan State a week from Saturday. For a complete look at the first full Saturday of the season, catch the debut of College Game Day coming up this.
Oregon State 6-0, but it is Oregon State with the football at the Sun Devils' 7-yard line, where it is first down and goal. Cedric Thomas is the up-back in that wishbone set. He's got the football as he moves it inside the 5 and is hammered down at the 4. Cedric Thomas hit and dropped by Kendall Ryan. Our first quarter notes are brought to you by Great Western. Now for the Beavers of Oregon State, they drop behind 6-0. Clyde McCoy on the receiving end of a 58-yard strike forward, and they're down 6-0. Second and goal. The ball inside the 5. Thomas to the 2. This time Dan Lucas leading the charge. Dan Lucas playing for an injured Justin Dragoo, and boy, what a loss for Arizona State all throughout this 94 season. Third down and goal from the 2. Shanklin busted play, and he is hit and dropped hard at the 2-yard line. Jason Kyle on the stop. I'm not so certain, Rod, now that I look at it, whether it was a busted play or simply a naked bootleg.
Well, it's hard to tell from this angle, but I'll tell you this much, Phil. What a great play on the outside by Arizona State. Shanklin is forced to turn it up inside right now because 94 is up there. Brent Bernstein forces him to turn it inside.
Second time in this ball game, the Beavers are going for it. Fourth down and goal. Shanklin, the pitch to J.J. Cannot get in, and once more this Sun Devil defense has held. Trayvon Johnson.
Hey, that is an All-American play by Trayvon Johnson. You're alley here, and no one can catch this man. J.J. Young is the only man who's fast enough on the field to catch up with him, not Arizona State's guys.
Oh, Randy Lund. He's a redshirt freshman from Las Vegas. And he whistles it through on his first attempt ever as a collegiate place kicker. And boy, what a turn of a...
Nice decision by Muhammad. He says, I'm going to get the ball to the man who can make a big play. And that's J.J. Young. Look at the speed. Look at the desire. He knows that he can get it done. He gets a great block out here by Joe Douglas, number 27, and he outruns Howard to the end zone.
J.J. Young, prior to that run, had 12 carries for 41 yards. Now, 13 carries for 109.
Well, you can contain the great ones for only so long.
Well said. Marcus Soward, incidentally, is down. There you see Soward, number 32, in pursuit. Appears as if J.J. might have come down on Soward's shoulder.
Well, we talked about Cade having to run that alley and get in a position to make a tackle in the fourth quarter. You don't see 25 up there at all to make a play. And that's because it is late in the game, and he's been trying to cover that pitch all day long, Phil.
Marcus Soward is still down, very slow in getting out. Now he's all right. I'll tell you, the Sun Devils so thin offensively and defensively. You bring Soward out. You've lost Newsom already to academic suspension at the other corner. You'd have to bring in a true freshman, Jason Simmons, or a walk-on, B.J. Alford, to play. You've got to get Soward ready to go back in that ball game. Oregon State now by 1 with 9:43 to play. They're going for 2 points. And why not? One really doesn't do you any good.
No, that's exactly right. You got to go ahead and protect yourself against the 3-point lead.
Raheem Muhammad at quarterback. The wishbone. Backfield right behind him. First man through is Cedric Thomas, and he is stood up and driven back. Ken Talanoa and Dan Lucas lead the charge. Sean Swayta also in on the stop. So at 9:43 left, Oregon State with their first lead in the game at 16-15.
This time, Arizona State's defense does a good job of stopping the Oregon State front line. You see Lucas up in there. He defeated the block of Starling Latu and got in there and made the tackle.
Crowd on hand for this 1994 season opener. Well, the scoring summary, Clyde McCoy with less than 3 minutes gone, a 58-yard pass from Plummer, and he was off to the races. And then Arizona State's John Baker connected on his first attempt. This one came from 33 yards away to make it 9-0. Don Shanklin brought the Beavers back in the final seconds of the first half. An 83-yard run off the option had closed the gap to 2. And then Baker hit from 24 yards away in quarter number 3 to make it 12-7 Sun Devils. Baker wasn't done yet. Still third period, a 37-yard field goal. He split the uprights. That made it an 8-point bulge. And then Randy Lund for Oregon State hit on his first field goal attempt in Division I football, 28 yards away. And now J.J. Young, 68 yards, 22-16. And now for Rod Gilmore and Paul Sunderland, I'm Phil Stone saying good night now from Tempe.
The case of the Notre Dame-Northwestern game is far from a classic season opener, but remember last year, the Wildcats gave the Irish a good fight, even led at halftime before falling short by 15. Lou Holtz looking to call the right play. He does. 7-3 Notre Dame. In the second, Ron Paulus drops back, hits a wide-open Mike Miller. It goes for 46 yards. It's 14-3 Notre Dame. Then in the third, Paulus again. A great debut. Remember, he missed all of last year with a broken collarbone. Here to Derek Mays. Oh, that's a great adjustment in the end zone. 42-9. Paulus with 4 touchdowns on the night. 42-15 is the final. Paulus was 18 of 24 for 291 yards and tied a school record with his 4 touchdown passes. Northwestern's Dennis Lundy moved past the 2,000-yard mark in his career. Next up for the Fighting Irish, the Michigan Wolverines. The Irish could certainly use another big performance from Paulus next Saturday, who had a memorable debut, especially compared to other notable Irish QBs, even those who wore the number 3. It's an impressive list, including a pair of Heisman Trophy winners on the bottom of this list. The best college matchup of the weekend, Tennessee and UCLA. Tennessee's starting quarterback, Jerry Colquitt, out for the year, a torn ACL. In the first, Wayne Cook play action finds Kevin Jordan deep, a 52-yard scoring pass. but they would miss the PAT. 6-0 UCLA in the fourth. Now 18-zip UCLA. Tennessee rallies. Nilo Sylvan with the reverse. Oh, nice block by the quarterback. Sets up the touchdown for Tennessee. They're coming back. They closed to within 2, 18-6. Oh, J.J. Stokes on the sideline with a bruised calf. Not thought to be serious, though. Under 2 minutes to go. Darren Washington just trying to protect the ball. Does more than that. A 30-yard jaunt. UCLA holds on to win. 25-23. UCLA coach Terry Donahue said it was about as smooth a performance by the Bruins offensive team in an opening game in a long, long time. They rolled up 491 yards and did not commit a turnover. Tailback U by a touchdown. Freshman DeLon Washington and coach John Robinson said he looked like the natural, rush for 109 yards, and senior Sean Walters finished with 91. The Trojans D forced 5 turnovers as they win this one 24-17. Let's see now how the Sooners fared on the road against Syracuse, needing a miracle, down 4 in the fourth. Someone was listening. Kevin Mason airs it out to Marvin Harrison. 29-27 Syracuse. Time, no, don't celebrate a little too soon there. The extra point blocked by Darius Johnson. Syracuse only up by 2, so Oklahoma still has the hope. Big play on the Sooners' final drive. You see it there, 4th and 13. Garrick McGee hits Albert Hall to keep hope alive. 4 plays later, closing seconds, Scott Blanton. The 48-yarder. 30-29. The Sooners hang on for the victory. Dan Conley, oh, the Orange can't believe it. So close yet, so far. 3 field goals for that young man. Oklahoma holds on to win a wild one, 30-29. The Sooners blew a 24-point lead, but still pick up the victory. They will play 5 of their first 7 games outside Norman. To the wacky whack, BYU and Hawaii. Early fourth, BYU trailing by 5. Cougar running back Jamal Willis throws his first pass in 3 years. It's a completion down to the 1-yard line. Then Willis dives over the top. BYU takes the lead and the win, 13-12. Usually a high-scoring game between these two. In the last 5 meetings, Hawaii scored 207 points, BYU 150, but just 13-12 this time. John Walsh saw his way to completing 23 of 36 for 235 action. And if week 1 is any indication, folks, the 125th collegiate season is going to be a memorable one. We start with BC at Michigan. Dan Henning making his debut. First play of the game. BC's Mark Hartzell airs it out, finds Greg Grice. He goes in for the score, a 74-yard score, 7-0 Eagles, just like that. So we go to the third. Michigan up by 2. Todd Collins hits Amani Toomer, who makes a nice grab, and he heads for the end zone. Oh, go on with your bad self. They go on to win 34-26. It was a rough day for BC and its mascot. New Mexico State and Florida. Quarterback Terry Dean looking for a record-setting night. First quarter, first Gator possession. Dean hits Ike Hilliard for the 6-yard score. His first collegiate catch puts the Gators up 7-0. Game tied at 7. Second Gator possession. Another touchdown. This one to Jack Jackson. 14-7. Gators in the lead. Second quarter, the Gators kept it going. Dean again to Jack Jackson. Goes for 3. 4th time they connected for touchdowns in the game. And Terry Dean celebrating his 7th touchdown pass of the game, an SEC record. Penn State, Minnesota, ooh, Joe Paterno in midseason form. But he had to be happy about this guy coming back bigger and faster. Kajani Carter in the first, 7-0 Penn State. He goes up the middle, breaks loose, makes it look so easy. 80-yard jaunt. He had 210 yards on 20 carries, 56-3. Nittany Lions win big. Virginia at Florida State. The Seminoles' new starting quarterback Danny Cannell, dumps one to Warwick Dunn. Watch this NFL move. 53 yards on the play. Then, the same drive. Cannell hits Dunn again. Gets a great block from number 65 right there. Textbook stuff. Seminoles stomp the Cavaliers 41-17. For the 7th year in a row, Alabama marches for a touchdown on its opening drive. And Auburn extends the longest winning streak in Division 1A to 12 games.
Play Georgia Southern. There's James Stewart, one of his 3 touchdowns. The 56-0 win, a new NCAA record, 58 straight home wins for the Hurricanes. in the big. This game back and forth until we got to the fourth quarter. Backup quarterback Antonio O'Farrell took the high snap, ran it in for what would be the game-winning touchdown. He came in after starter Jeff Speedy separated a shoulder, and Kentucky wins it 20-14. They're now 7-0 all time against Louisville. Two teams make, and Damon Heward hits Eric Bjornsson. Bjornsson shakes a couple of defenders, and he's gone down the left sideline. 52 yards, Washington up 7-0, ineligible for the Rose Bowl, still on probation, but John Robinson's team in trouble until Sean Walters gets his hand on the ball. Washington tries to hold a team meeting on Walters' back, but he carries everyone into the end zone to tie the game at 17, and then he'll untie it with a 3-yard burst. 24-17, the Trojans beat Washington. But Southern Cal only able to move up one spot. The Trojans now with number 13 in the Dorsett, the former Pitt Panther who won the Heisman in 1976 there, honored before the game his son, Anthony Jr., a defensive back there. But Shea Morenz with a touchdown that put Texas up at the half. Then Pitt down by 8 late. Mark Butler's touchdown pulls them within 2. 2-point conversion try. Couldn't do it. And Texas gets away with the 2-point win. Longhorns moving up 1 point.
All right, fellas, lesson number 1, let's hold on to the football. It's hit, pop, drop, flop, squirt, flop. Will someone hold on to that oblong thing? Now, Eric Foster's got the right idea. Who needs Stickum? Penn State's Eric Dingle, just the right place at the right time. Now, lesson number 2, try and stay on your feet. New Mexico State's Cody Ledbetter may have had the right idea. Would you stand for this? What's with this ring around the rosy thing? We all fall down, the defender, receiver, and ref. If you can't stay on your feet, at least stay in your shoes. Pity the guy that got a whiff of that. You want a guy who can stay on his feet? Check out FSU's Warwick Dunn. I'm not going down. You can't make me. All right, I'll let you catch me. Enough to make you want to pull your hair out. Hey, coach, try one of these low-maintenance dudes. Now, let's get back to basics. Football is blocking and tackling and hitting and popping. Oh, Nelly popped him. They went jawbone to jawbone, and he came out of the defensive backfield like a fallen tree. Whoa, that's college football. Sorry, got a little carried away. Maybe I could use a bite to eat. Stomach's doing flip-flops. Finally, let's work on this celebration thing. If you're gonna dance, then dance. What's that? Hey, try this. Toy soldier thing? Passé. But whatever you do, make the play before you celebrate. Oklahoma's P.J. Mills for 6, not so fast. Bryce Bevel with the Never Say Die award. He pops the ball loose at the 2, Syracuse ball at the 20. So never take anything for granted. You'll never know what you'll find across the USA.
Georgia's Eric Zier. What a game he had at South Carolina last night. Finding his favorite target, speedster Hassan Graham. Look at Graham go here, a 77-yard touchdown, one of 2 for those two. They had a 63-yarder between them later on. 3 touchdown passes for Zier, 485 yards, which is already better than his SEC best average of a year ago, 414 yards per game. Eric Zier certainly getting noticed. Some other players. He should. Former New York Jets coach Joe Walton is starting the new program at Robert Morris. And he got immediate results at Waynesburg. Jake Newman threw 3 touchdown passes, 2 to Robert Frazier. And Robert Morris, a non-scholarship 1AA school, won 24-19. And Joe Walton, now far removed from the NFL with just 1 assistant and little other help, said he returned for this, the excitement. And he added it was fun to coach kids who are so excited and want to learn. And it was fun for us to
Florida, formerly number 1, won in week 1 by 49 points and dropped to number 2. One guy who doesn't put a lot of stock in the polls is Tom Osborne. He said, quote, I voted for BYU. I like Lavelle Edwards. Whoever said the polls were a popularity contest. To Lubbock we go. Same shirt, different team for sure. Last year, Osborne's Huskers won by 23. Look at Tommy Frazier, 58 yards. He can move. 7-0 Huskers, 84 yards on the ground for number 15. The next great Nebraska running back, is it Lawrence Phillips? On this play, it looks like it. Takes the handoff. Where are the blockers? He doesn't need them. And leading the way, the quarterback, Frazier. 28 yards on the play, 14-3 at the half. Early third quarter, the Red Raiders on the Nebraska 6. Their quarterback is Zebby Lethbridge. Scott Ayler's open in the back of the end zone, and he finds him. It's 14-9. The two-point conversion failed. Nebraska's running game, typical Nebraska, punishing up the middle. That's the fullback, Corey Schlesinger. 49 yards to the Red Raider 28. He, too, 84 yards on the ground. That led to a touchdown at 21-9, and I'll drink to the ground game, says Osborne. Lawrence Phillips again, up the middle, into the clear. Afterburners, please. 56 yards, 28-9. Phillips, 175 on the ground. Frazier didn't hit on many. He did on this one. Is it a touchdown for Eric Alford? Yes, it is. Frazier, 5 of 15 for 88 yards, and Nebraska rolls. Under Osborne, when Nebraska rushes for more than 400 yards, and they did, they had over 500 in this game, they are 68-0. Interesting comparisons for Nebraska between this game and Game 1 versus West Virginia. Time of possession, only a 2-second difference. In each game, Nebraska attempted 17 passes and punted 3 times. The key stat, however, in the marquee matchup this Saturday, Michigan at Powell.
Rebuilt a lot of the stadium. The first new stadium in Division 1A in 12 years since the Metrodome in '82. Doug Graber thinks big things are going to happen in this stadium. His team down 6-0 to West Virginia, but Ray Lucas to Jason Curry, the tight end. The score, Rutgers takes a 7-6 lead. Next play off the ensuing kickoff, Eric Boykin intercepted by the linebacker, Alcides Catano, for the touchdown. Add the extra point, and the Scarlet Knights lead the Mountaineers 14-6. West Virginia's on.
They get somebody on Sneeden, almost picked off. West Virginia in its hurry-up offense, down 17-12, 33 seconds to go. Johnston, Sneeden, they go home run ball, Vanter pull, double coverage, and it's overthrown. 12 Rutgers. Johnston had time to throw and overthrow. Play clock at 3. Johnston does get it off. They blitz. He gets away, but not for long. He's taken down by number 57, Rashawn Gettings, and Bob Sneeden.
And Mark Washington, number 23, was in there as well. And there's a celebration now on the Rutgers sideline as well as in the stands. At the 18-second mark, this game is history. Look at Sneeden. Doug Graber, does it look like he knows he's won?
This is a big win, as we talked about at the beginning of our ball game. Rutgers needed this game, given their tough schedule forthcoming.
Remember some of the things Doug Graber talked to us about also? Needed some big plays. They got some big plays today because they didn't have statistical.
Big plays indeed. And Rutgers now will just kill the clock. So the Rutgers Scarlet Knights have knocked off the defending Big East champion, West Virginia Mountaineers. The clock ticks down. And it's all over. Rutgers has won it.
Trailing Maryland 20-17. That's okay. They went to work in the third. Rock Preston sweeping left, 6 yards for the score. His second touchdown of the game. Florida State on top 24-20. Seminoles continued their dominance in the second half. Zach Crockett powering his way to a 14-yard touchdown. His second of the game. The final, well, it ended up being a blowout, 52-20. Charlie Ward's replacement, Danny Cannell. How did he fare this afternoon? He was 28 of 44. 417 yards passing, 1 touchdown and 2 INTs. In Happy Valley, USC, Alabama, Gene Stallings, he has a perfect record against the Commodores, 4-0 coming into this one. Take a look at Alabama defensive end Damian Jeffries. He picks off the deflected Ronnie Gordon pass, and the big guy rambles 24 yards and sets up Alabama's first score. So the defense helps to get Alabama on the board, and then the offense goes to work later in the fourth. Bama running back Curtis Alexander scoring from 2 yards out, and the Tide improves to 2-0. Final in that one, 17-7. Senior Tail beats his alma mater, 29-12, and this one game ends up in a tie. Here was the key.
Here, 62 yards to Marcus Hinton. As the defender falls down, he takes it to the end zone for the touchdown. 21-0. Alcorn State has the lead over Tennessee.
So Northwestern comes away with a tie against Stanford.
try to strip the ball away, but Biaka-Batuka holds on. They'll spot the football at the 14-yard line, and he's at 100 yards rushing on the day.
And Tom, the thing this Notre Dame defense has to do as you look at the timeouts remaining is not so much concentrate on creating the turnover. If they can simply hold Michigan to a field goal here, then they have time. They have the skill position players to go the distance, get the touchdown, and win the game. They cannot give up a touchdown and really cannot give up a first down here.
Biaka-Batuka hit at the line and dropped in his tracks. First hit for the Irish was made by Brian McGee. And Notre Dame will take the timeout, their first timeout. It comes with 2:26 left, and Michigan leading 20-17, facing a third down. Nothing. Driven back by the Notre Dame defense. Led by Brian Hamilton, Biaka-Batuka found nothing. And another Notre Dame timeout. They'll be down to their final timeout with 2:19 remaining. And got a 32-yard Schroffner field goal to go up 3-0. Michigan came back after a field goal attempt was blocked, and then on a freak play taken for a first down, Biaka-Batuka went for the touchdown to give the Wolverines a 7-3 lead. Then Notre Dame reclaimed the lead as Paulus hit Becton on a beautiful, patient fourth down pass. It went for 1 yard. Paulus with the touchdown pass to Becton. In the second quarter, the defenses started to assert themselves. Hamilton had a 32-yard field goal. That came with 5 minutes left in the second quarter, and at halftime, we were tied. Third quarter began with Mark Edwards and the Notre Dame offense going 8 yards for the touchdown, and the Irish seemed to be taking control. But Michigan, after that score, came right back with one of their own. Collins to the former quarterback Remersma, now a tight end, a 3-yard touchdown pass to tie it at 17. And then after the second fumble of the day by Lee Becton, Remy Hamilton with a 35-yard field goal to put the Wolverines up 20-17. And now 4th and 6 for Moeller and the Wolverines, leading by 3 and 2:19 to play.
Keep your eye on Bobby Taylor. He's been getting close to blocking these kicks all day. Number 21 will run into your screen and jump.
Hamilton to attempt it from 32 yards. Remersma to hold. On its way and through. Hamilton hits the field goal. So today, 3 Notre Dame fumbles, all converted into field goals by the Michigan offense. 2 by Becton and the last one by Paulus. But yet, there's hope for Notre Dame. 2:15 and 1 timeout left and down only 6 points. Ron Paulus, the young quarterback, Stafford, Miller, Mays, 3 wide receivers, 2 set left to the bottom of your screen. Draw play. Becton dives to the 14. And the clock ends inside. Paulus to throw. Batted down, incomplete. Big defensive play by Steve Morrison of the Wolverines. Batted it right back in the face of Ron Paulus.
Huge game today by Steve Morrison. But now you're seeing the game plan of Lloyd Carr. This is what he thought he could do to this young man. Put some pressure on him. Get him in the backfield, make him hurry his throw, but exactly what happens in the secondary may be the bigger problem. Having to go with that one-on-one coverage, the blitz coverage, against the great speed of Lou Holtz's wide receivers.
Stafford wide right, Mays and Miller left, and a timeout taken by the third down pass. For the end zone, Paulus for Mays, double covered, penalty marker down, interference Michigan. Whistled against Deion Johnson.
Another good call, but remember, not the National Football League here. Will be the automatic first down for the Irish.
Paulus rolls, flag down, delivers it complete. Remember, there's a penalty marker and no indication
from the official if he's in the end zone, and illegal shift against Notre Dame.
Absolutely the correct call by the official. The fullback did not get his hand down. There was a man in motion. That makes 2 men in motion at the snap of the ball. An illegal play.
The tight end to the right, 2 wide receivers, Miller and Mays to the left. I formation, back to the tailback. Celebration may have injured Derek Mays, but what a terrific catch he made. Now, the extra point to give Notre Dame the lead. Stefan Schroffner, the senior kicker. Missed the point after in the 2 games to date.
Showing incredible poise. The play was not there at first look. He let Derek Mays get behind the next man, threw it the only place that it could have been caught. Sensational catch under pressure by Derek Mays. First look not there. Continues across. Too good. Just simply too good.
Here it is again, the Pennsylvania Rifleman do the Hoosier hot shot.
The kid and the parents of the kid.
Well, the celebration could start a little. He needs to duck out of bounds, and he does at the 30-yard line. Michigan first down, but still 70 yards away. And Collins has Remersma with a catch across midfield and down to the 47-yard line. Timeout to move the sticks with 31 seconds left. 22-yard gain. And now they're only 20 yards or so away from a field goal opportunity.
Todd Collins wants this opportunity. His mental toughness, his strongest asset.
Clock starts inside 30 seconds.
They're wasting time.
Under pressure, Collins finds his man, Smith. He's close to another first down. The ball will be spotted about the 33-yard line. That's a 50-yard field goal from where it is now. Michigan. Collins feels the pressure. Let it go. It's complete. Smith dives to the 25-yard line with 7 seconds left. What a play by Collins.
Unbelievable poise by Todd Collins. He was absolutely in the grasp of Burt Berry. Still found his receiver. still able to get the throw off. And now it comes down to a kick. What a great play. I mean, that is just sensational poise by that young man. Clever bit of receiving on the tail end. Burt Berry just comes clean. Absolutely comes clean.
Remersma will hold. The field goal attempt could win the game. Remy Hamilton, sophomore kicker. It'll be a 42-yard attempt. And before... On its way. It's good. Remy Hamilton being mobbed as Paulus can only watch. There are 2 seconds left on the clock, but the Michigan students have flooded the field. Last year, the Irish went to Ann Arbor and upset the favored Wolverines. It was a turnaround win for the Irish team that went on to make a run at the national championship. Many thought they should have won it. They lost only 1 game all season to Boston College. And Michigan has come to Notre Dame Stadium and with 2 seconds left, taken the lead. And the ironic part of this is that in the 1990s, Notre Dame has lost only 8 football games. 6 of them have come here at Notre Dame Stadium.
Apparently now the referees have flagged the Michigan crowd. I believe there's going to be a 15-yard penalty. We've seen...
There's the kick.
Just ball.
And that'll be the game. A tremendous Notre Dame comeback led by Ron Paulus with Derek Mays making the clutch catch. And then Michigan came right back down to get a Remy Hamilton field goal to win it over Notre Dame 26-24 in the first home appearance of the celebrated Irish quarterback Ron Paulus.
Pardon me while I stand and applaud with the rest of this crowd for the performance of these 2 teams.
2 of the best in college football on display today, parrying back and forth with Michigan coming away the 2-point winner. Today's genuine Chevrolet players of the game, Todd Collins from Michigan and Ron Paulus of Notre Dame. In conjunction with this program, Chevrolet will contribute $2,000 to the National Association of Student Financial Aid Administrators for disbursement to deserving college students so that they may continue their education. Maybe Todd Collins was the legend on display today. Final score, Michigan 26, Notre Dame 24. For Chris Collinsworth, John Dockery, and Ahmad Rashad, Tom Hammond. So long from South Bend.
All right.
The most informative has dominated this series. Their 4-0 career against the Bruins. They haven't played since '47. First 10,000 fans got a J.J. Stokes poster, but no J.J. out with a bruised quad. But Craig James said, watch out for Kevin Jordan this year. Gets in there for the touchdown. SMU was up 3-0. The Ponies now trail. It's just the start of the 3rd quarter, and UCLA leads by the score of 10-3 in that one. Auburn at home at Jordan-Hare dominating Northeast Louisiana as the longest road trip rolls on. Patrick Nix, 216 yards and a touchdown pass. Virginia Tech, not an easy trip when you're going down to Southern Miss. And right now, the Hokies trailing most of the way, lead by 7. The big game, Michigan and Notre Dame. Last 6 games decided by a total of 25 points. This one would have drama right throughout and come down like the last Notre Dame game at South Bend did, to the last field goal by the opponent. Michigan led 23-17. 4th quarter, Mike Miller, a huge kickoff return past the kicker all the way down into Wolverine territory at the 38 after 3 plays. Ron Paulus to Derek Mays, pass interference as he's knocked down by Deion Johnson. 1st and goal, Irish. After a penalty pushes him back, Paulus to Mays. Watch this, great catch by Mays. The Irish lead by 1 after the point with 52 seconds left. Michigan works it down the field. Todd Collins to the former converted quarterback now, Jay Remersma, for 27 yards. 2 plays later, Collins avoids Burke Berry, finds Walter Smith, gets out of bounds. A chance for Remy Hamilton to win it. And he does. A field goal to close it out for Remy Hamilton as Michigan beats Notre Dame in a dramatic finish, 26-24. And credit the Michigan defensive line. 6 sacks of Ron Powers today, and Bianca Batuka over 100 yards as Michigan gets a big win. Some reactions. Go out to Chris Fowler in South Valley to take on Penn State, the most interesting matchup. This one was over quick. Keyjana Carter, first drive for the Lions, 32-yard score. He had a $119 on the ground today. Penn State led 21-0. Second straight week, they scored 35 at half, and they dominate USC. Washington against Ohio State, Napoleon Kaufman, huge day on the ground, 211 yards. Huskies hang on. They were up big at the half and win by 9. Stanford Northwestern, wonderful finish. Bill Walsh sending Steve Stenstrom out to start the season. In the fourth quarter, 4th and goal, down 7. Stenstrom, all kind of time. Nobody open, keeps it himself. After the point, we're tied at 41. 32 seconds left, 3rd and 15. Stenstrom to Mark Harris. It's a first down. They're getting in field goal range. Moving it even closer for Eric Abrams. 24-yarder to win it. Holds it. He had never missed a field goal inside of 29 yards until that one. It ends in a 41-all tie. The Cardinal has not won the season opener since 1986. Oh, the blowouts today. Florida, second straight game over 70. Terry Dean just backed up last week with 4 TD passes today. Florida State trailed at the half for the combined for 229 yards and 6 scores. Texas-Louisville was an interesting game for John Mackovic. Would he finally get a win at home in the opener? Down 7, Louisville trying to drive in the 4th, but Marty Lowe is picked off. Joey Ellis takes it 47 yards to seal it against Coach Schnellenberger's team. Shea Moretz, good passing day, 247 yards and a touchdown as Texas wins an important game by 14. Alabama and Vandy may not lose for quite some time. Impressive domination of Oklahoma, pulling away with a big 4th quarter. NC State, Mike O'Kane used to be the quarterback at Clemson. He goes into Death Valley and beats his alma mater by 17 today. And BYU, which struggled at Hawaii late last Saturday night, goes into Air Force and beats the Falcons by 24. We are at halftime. CFA primetime in the SEC. Scott Weaver threw 2 touchdowns in the Illini shutout of the Tigers. After losing its Southeast Conference opener to Georgia, South Carolina's Brad Scott looking for win 1 tonight, taking on Arkansas right back in Columbia right now in the 3rd quarter. On the Stanley Pritchard 1-yard run, defensive battle, South Carolina leads by 7. Other nighttime action, Michigan State, beneficiary of 3 Kansas first quarter turnovers. You saw the Syracuse game last week, their struggling again with Cincinnati, a team that took them deep into the 4th quarter last year. What about Toledo? Looking to beat Purdue for the 2nd time in 3 years, leading at halftime at Ross-Ade Stadium. The Tulsa Golden Hurricane leading Memphis by the score of 18-7 as you see Minnesota trying to bounce back from that Penn State game where they really struggled last week. Good effort by Minnesota thus far. The Virginia Navy game, interesting story. Simeon Willis, the starting quarterback, out thus far. Not a problem for the Cavaliers. Coming up after our game, late night. In the Pac-10, it's Miami against Arizona State. Last week, Miami showed that they have some swagger back. Now, Brad Nessler says Hurricanes have some other things on their mind tonight.
The Miami Hurricanes were the
had most of the success, but play action, taking the ball from the center. Very well thrown ball. Raymond Austin, number 28. Got behind him, Jeff Thomas, number 8. Big play.
Ronald Davis makes the save, 71 yards in the pass play. We talked about a big play offense for Georgia. There it is right there. First down, inside the 10-yard line of Tennessee. Hines Ward, his flags come down and it's no play.
False start on the offensive line.
Moves up and nothing. Hines Ward got the handoff, and as soon as he did, Talley was right there.
Going to see number 8 run pass. Watch his speed now as he's even. That's Jeff Thomas. He's even with the Tennessee defender. Now he just takes off and leaves Raymond Austin, number 28, and Ronald Davis, number 1. And last week against South Carolina, they had a 79-yard touchdown, 66-yard touchdown pass. about a 16-yard pass that turned into a 34-yard touchdown. So big plays beat South Carolina.
Far side, this is Graham. He'll be tackled just shy of the 5 by Terry Fair. Pass incomplete. There was a collision at the 1-yard line. Hassan Graham is the man that he wanted. Play. Cannon Parker. Good heavens, what happened there? He got it. It was a fat 9-iron, but he hit it. 17-9, Tennessee. We'll be right back. Helton rolls the pocket. Has a man. Touchdown, Tennessee, Joey King.
Seeing a quarterback come of age here. Made a good decision to throw that ball to Joey Kent, but he bought some time because he's a good athlete with good feet and mobile.
Just like hitting the 3-2 pitch out of the park.
All those baseball scouts watching tonight are saying, uh-oh, the money's going up too.
John Bexford to attempt this extra point. Knocks it home, and let's take a break. 8:13 remaining, third quarter. And as you watch it one more time, Tennessee 24 and Georgia 9.
Back to pass. Picked off by the safety, Chris Adams, at the goal line. After the big J.J. Metters completion gets Arkansas close, they come away with nothing. Meantime, UCLA is taking the lead. The inside handoff to Sharman Shah. The Shah, he ran for the end zone, and the Bruins have a 7-point lead in the fourth.
Well, they're having...
We talk about a strong arm, but Raymond Austin just underplays it a little bit, or could have had the interception. Juan Daniels for the touchdown.
Mike, that's 2 big plays that Austin has gone for the interception instead of the sure thing, hitting the ball and knocking it away.
And exactly right. And what Tennessee defensively did not want to do is give up the big play.
That's right.
Make them work the field, which they did in the first half. Second half.
South Carolina 7-0. We mentioned how Arkansas was getting close, turning it over. Arkansas sees South Carolina drive the field. A Stanley Pritchett shovel pass made it 14-0. Kansas down 10-0. Ashiki Preston to Dewey Houston, the tight end. Kansas will trail by 3 as they head to halftime there. When the SMU down 7 drives from its own 5, they were first and goal. But Donnie Edwards, the linebacker, a big sack. UCLA escapes, beating SMU by 7. On 4th down, gets Antoine Carter to punch it in. And Arizona leads New Mexico State by 14, still in the first.
Of course, it was Arizona.
Gainesville last week had to go into Arizona. Not a fun place as Arizona opens its home season. Dan White in the air, 2 touchdowns to Richard Dice. This the second, closing seconds of the first half, a 38-yard score. Tack on top of that, Antoine Carter's 131 yards and 2 scores in the first half, and a Steve McLaughlin field goal just a couple of minutes ago. It's 34-0. Real close one in the opener for Cal. They have just scored, and the Bears now lead. Ted Tollner, San Diego State run and shoot. The score is 20-19, time running down in the fourth quarter. Baylor scored 35 in the first quarter, bombing San Jose State by 34. And in Salt Lake City, Mike McCoy's throwing has Utah up 59-0 on Idaho State. A little that they were dropped in the polls after 70 against New Mexico State, 73 put up by Terry Dean, Rydell Anthony, the catch there, and the rest of the Gators. Dean has 11 touchdown passes in just 5 quarters this year. Next week, they play at Tennessee here on ESPN. The Penn State 17-10 UCLA. SMU first and goal. Raymond Flanagan, the quarterback, is stopped, no gain. Second and goal, Jacques Smith up the middle. Loses 2. Third and goal from the 5. Flanagan drops back. In trouble. The linebacker, Donnie Edwards, puts them down at the 17. Edwards has 4.5 sacks after delay of game. Fourth and goal from the 22. Dante Womack is out there, but he can't come back in time. Tom Rossley, the coach whose son caught a touchdown pass, saw his team come so close to an immense upset. But behind Sharman Shah's running, UCLA survives. Go to Lincoln next week to face the Cornhuskers. Texas A&M, they're on probation, Clemson, and went into Death Valley. They played a good game, but lost by 6. Going back in this year, a different story for the Wolfpack. Quarterback Terry Harvey, airing it out to Eddie Goins between 2 defenders. He's got it. They're not going to get him. 76 yards, 2 touchdowns on the day. For Goins, that's a school record. It's Clemson's worst home defeat since Duke beat them 34-17 back in 1980. Staying in the ACC, Florida State. Miami leads by 23. Peter holds a 32-yard field goal. San Diego State gets the win. We're going back to Brad for the second half after this.
He did it to three different guys. Jamie German does it first on the wide receiver screen. No one's going to catch him. He was gone the minute he touched that football.
56 yards there.
Next, Chris T. Jones does it. A little outcut after a turnover, catches the ball. Great effort to spin out of the tackle from Tremaine Johnson. Goes into the end zone.
That's a 10-yarder.
And finally, Jonathan Harris. Good read by Costa on a blitz, and boom, he's gone.
And he has gone 53 yards for that touchdown.
And I think the great thing is, you know, getting those wide receivers involved. He is.
They call him the Patriot.
You got it. Patriot missile's going to put a scud on him right here. Falls in the air just long enough.
Wow. At a career high.
In the air as well, Dan White way up top for Richard Dice. The two hooked up for a pair of touchdowns, and Arizona, you know, could just relax in this one. 44-0, the whitewash of New Mexico State. No more upper echelon. A&M up 3-0 until Corey Polig hit Rodney Thomas there. Then it was a 10-0 Aggie lead. Garrick McGee tried to bring the Sooners back, but this pass picked off by Ray Mickens, and he brings it back the other way. Texas A&M won it 36-14, avenged that loss a year ago. But, Coach, is this good or bad news for the Big Eight? Oklahoma getting knocked off. Can they be beaten? Good news. Finally got a little luck at them Dogs' expense. Oh, a sure touchdown in the hands of Hassan Graham dropped. Oh, my, look at how perfect that was. However, it's an incomplete pass and no points for Georgia. And that would cost them because Tennessee would take advantage, and James Stewart taking advantage. Look at Stewart with the moves, avoiding what would have been a tackle for a loss as he cuts it up the left side. 71 yards for the touchdown, 211 yards, and 4 touchdowns for Stewart on the night. 41-23, Tennessee wins it between the hedges. The eyes of Texas and scoring a lot. Well, BYU and Air Force did not disappoint yesterday. How about Jeremy Johnson of the Air Force with a touchdown that cut BYU's lead to 24-21 at the break? But how about BYU's John Walsh? 3 touchdown passes, 315 yards throwing the ball, and BYU won it 45-21. And the win, enough to move the Cougars up 4 and into the top. The Huskies not eligible for the coaches poll because of probation, but still eligible to affect it. And there's Napoleon Kaufman, the beautiful 38-yard run, part of another big day for Kaufman, a 7-0 Husky lead. Damon Heward up top for Eric Bjornson in the corner of the end zone, a 25-yarder. 22 unanswered points for Washington as they win it 25-16. While we've all...
And Singhard doing his dance in the secondary, and all of a sudden, here comes the big people, and still won't go down. 10 seconds now left for Washington State, maybe to take a shot at one throw.
Stadium, Washington State trying to get off to the 2-0 start, and the Cougars. And here, Chad Davis dropping back in the pump fake, and as you think, perhaps some miscommunication on this play.
Yeah, the route was deeper, and
Ending offers a lifetime placement service and flexible training schedule.
Nebraska still number 1, but Florida is a closer number 2 than last week. The Gators stand 9 points behind, but they did lose ground in the first place vote department. Florida is 5 first place votes behind last week. They're 11 behind this week.
In another big weekend of college football, Todd Collins and his Wolverine pals were hardly the only heroes. Consider Roger Fleener punting 14 times for Pacific Saturday, breaking a 25-year-old school record held by a man named Atomic Tarosian. And just 5 days after Jerry Rice broke the NFL touchdown record, his own college receiving record was shattered by Chris George of Glenville State, who caught a dozen Saturday for 315 in his career. Milestones, mismatches, and Michigan headlining our College Weekend in Review. Milestones, the most prolific individual performance of the weekend, look no further than Alcorn State quarterback Steve McNair. Air McNair followed up last week's 633-yard performance versus Grambling by chewing up Tennessee Chattanooga for 657 yards of total offense, setting a new Division I AA mark. McNair mocked the Moccasins' defense for 156 yards rushing, 491 yards passing, and 8 touchdowns. Florida State's Danny Cannell passed for 417 yards as the Seminoles amassed 731 yards of total offense in Mauling, Maryland, and New Mexico's Stoney Case threw for 403 yards, 2 touchdowns. He ran for another, and the Lobos lost to TCU. The Horned Frogs win due in large part to running back Andre Davis. 325 yards, 2 touchdowns, including a school record 87-yard scoring run from scrimmage. Central Michigan running back Brian Pruitt cashed in on a porous UNLV defense. His 274 yards and 3 touchdowns key to Chippewa school record 551-yard running attack that slowed the running Rebels to a crawl. Tennessee's James Stewart went through the Dogs, 217 yards and 4 touchdowns for Jimmy Between the Hedges. And Washington's Napoleon Kaufman's career-high 211 yards made him the first man to amass 200 yards rushing against Ohio State since 1986. The individual defensive performance of the day, Oregon State's Reggie Tung. Tung lashed Wyoming with 3 interceptions, returned 2 of them for scores, 44 and 56 yards. That enabled the Beavers to win 44-31 despite totaling 0 yards passing. That's the big goose egg. Dominant team defense displayed by Baylor. 4 interceptions of San Jose quarterback Ali Abru while holding the Spartans to minus 22 yards on the ground. Illinois sent Missouri to its 17th consecutive road loss, allowing just 1 first down and 46 total yards in a 42-love win. And Minnesota forced Pacific's Roger Fleener into a school record 14 punts, breaking the Tigers' 25-year-old record of 12 set by Atomic Tarosian. Game of the week, what else? Michigan's miracle under the Golden Dome.